Hey y'all, I'm coming today to do I'm 39 weeks today. So 39 weeks today. But I'm going to talk about what's been going on all week. Um, as always, y'all, that's our Florida State University, our Florida State Seminoles, flag in the back. If I look like I'm about to pass out or anything, I am. I'm so tired. Um, yeah, today's Friday. So like I said, we are 39 weeks today, but I wanted to go ahead and do this video. Because I honestly don't think we're going to make it 40 weeks. I don't. Hell, I'm starting to think we may not even make it past this weekend. Um, I have to upload the video that I recorded, my 38 week, but I'm uploading both today. So what's been going on? Y'all, this has been, stress-wise, this has been emotionally one of the most stressful, most emotional weeks of our pregnancy. Basically what happened, Monday Sunday, I'm going to start Sunday because I recorded my 38-week video Sunday was great. We went to the altar, we got prayed over because the nerves were starting to kind of set in. And so I went for prayer. I have said it in my videos that my husband and I both are very religious people. So we basically, we went to the altar and got prayed for, and everything was good. Monday, I went, did my NSTs like normal. Everything was fine. And I noticed, if I'm not mistaken, Monday, my I can't remember. I can't remember how my Monday my uterine activity was not really going on, which I wasn't worried about that. So Tuesday, Tuesday I really wasn't feeling that great. I wasn't feeling that great. I was kind of sort of hurting a little bit. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna go because I knew Tuesday was really the only day that I was gonna be able to go to the church. Because I was still volunteering through the week. So Tuesday, I didn't go. I just stayed home because I just didn't feel good. So Wednesday rolls around. Wednesday, I had OB, like a midwife appointment Wednesday. And everything was fine. I didn't, I was like, okay. I had already said it in my head, unless they say they just gonna check me, I'm not asking them to check me because of what happened 2 weeks ago when I just knew I had dilated and I hadn't dilated any. So I was like, you know what? I'm not about to get my hopes up again. So unless they say something about checking me, I'm not going to say anything. So y'all, this was another new midwife, which again, I told y'all in my last video, the biggest downside to being a military spouse and going to a military hospital is they tell you up front they're going to assign you to a midwife. However, they can't guarantee you that you're going to see that midwife every time you go, especially once you get to the end and you need more appointments. Like if it's an appointment every 4 to 6 weeks, then yeah, they can look and say, oh, well, we got your midwife open here. But once you get down to that wire and you really need to keep these appointments, your midwife may be booked up. Okay, so I was already kind of hoping I didn't get the lady that I got 2 weeks ago, the one who scheduled the growth scan, which I talked about that in my last video. So I was already kind of hoping I didn't get her again. So had a gentleman like nurse or whatever. So he came, and he said, well, you're going to be with Miss Such and Such. I didn't recognize the name. So I was like, hey, that's not my old midwife that we've been seeing since we started going. Because the first trimester, like I said, since we were still technically under the care of our fertility doctor, even though we conceived naturally, we went to the fertility clinic the first trimester. But since the second trimester on, we've seen the same person, the same midwife. Okay, so back to Wednesday. So she comes in and she basically, she gets the pleasantries out of the way. She's like, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh, I'm fine. And y'all, the one of the very first things that she said out of her mouth was, um, I'm really surprised they haven't scheduled your induction yet. And I'm looking like, scheduled my induction? What are you talking about? Okay, this is what was explained to me Wednesday. She told me that because of my body mass index, my BMI, I was the whole time I was supposed to be scheduled for a induction, not a C-section, just an induction. Okay, this is the problem though. The BMI they want is 40. 40 or lower, and you're fine. She was saying that mine was coming up at 44, which halfway through the appointment, the gentleman, like the assistant, the nurse or whatever, he told her, he said, well, hey, her BMI is actually wrong. It shows her at 44, but her BMI is actually 41. So she was like, oh, okay. Well, we still gonna induce you. So y'all, I'm sitting here like seriously like freaking out because this is Wednesday. She's saying, well, we really should induce you at 39 weeks, which is today. So I'm like, and I guess she could tell the look on my face because she was like, well, I guess we can just wait to 40 weeks and you can discuss it with your husband. So I'm like, I'm sitting there literally like in a state of shock, like what the hell is going on? Then she was like, well, I'm going to check you. So I'm like, okay. Again, I wasn't going to ask. So she did check me. She said, oh, okay, you're 1 centimeter dilated. You're actually 60% effaced. And you are 3 stations. So I'm like, okay. Then she checked. She felt my stomach. And she was like, yep, baby's good and head down. She was like, and just feeling, the head. She was like, no, he doesn't seem big at all. And I said, that's what I've been saying the entire pregnancy because every ultrasound, he measures right on target. Mind y'all, when she actually measured my stomach by tape, guess what? I was measuring 38 weeks in a few days. It was almost like perfect how it was supposed to be. So then she said, well, and I'm still like, well, I don't understand this whole induction thing. And so she was like, well, y'all, I don't know if she thought the little story she told me was supposed to make me feel better. I don't know. But she was basically like, yeah, I'm from Atlanta and I used to induce people. I used to induce people and put them on because I was like, I don't want to be induced. I want my body to go into it naturally because I feel like inducing it, y'all may say, well, you taking too long. We're going to give you a C-section. And that's not what I want. And she was like, well, no, we're not. We don't want you to have a C-section either. But then she was telling me something about she used to induce or put people on the epidural at 1 centimeter. Like she was like, yeah, I used to be kind of trigger happy with inductions and stuff, but I've calmed down. And I'm like, is this supposed to be making me feel better? Like, this is having the reverse effect. So, needless to say, even though she said, well, you can discuss it with your husband, I guess we'll go to 40 weeks, but you're not going past 40 weeks. You're just not. So I'm like, okay, you kind of forceful. So he looked and the 4th, which is our due date next Friday, was all booked up. So we went and he said, well, we're just going to schedule it for the 5th, which is Saturday. So she was like, well, okay. Also, she was like, well, do you have your other appointment scheduled? And I was like, yeah, I have an appointment Monday. And he said, yeah, she has an appointment with you Monday. I'm like, I don't want to see her. So she was like, well, okay, Monday when you come, I'm going to sweep your membranes. I'm like, okay, y'all, then she was like, well, okay, put your clothes on. We'll see you Monday. So y'all, I'm sitting there like slick traumatized, like the hell. And it took, like, seriously, it took everything in me to keep from crying while she was in the room. It took everything in me to put my clothes on, make it, through the hospital, get to my car. But as soon as I got to my car, I just lost it. I was boohoo crying. I was just lost it. And I do thank God that my husband works, we live on the installation, where we're stationed, and, he works, so on the installation. So I called him. He was in a meeting, but I kept calling. I called him, and he finally texted me back. I sat in the parking lot of the hospital until he texted me back, because I'm like, I'm not going home. If I have to, it was like an hour or so before his lunch officially starts. But I was like, if I have to go just sit at his job, sit in the parking lot for an hour, that's fine, because I need my husband. So he finally called me. He called me back. And I asked him, I said, well, babe, do you have a few minutes for me just to come out there and just sit and talk? And he was like, yeah. I mean, by this point, I'm still crying. And so he was like, yeah, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, I'll tell you when I get there, which I do feel bad about that, because everybody in his office, because my husband has like an office job in the military, everybody in his office was like, what's wrong? Because he said the look on his face, and he said, he told him, he was like, I don't know. She's upset and she's coming. So he came out. I got his job within like 10 minutes. He came out, and as soon as he got in the car, I just handed him the induction pamphlet that was handed to me. And so he was like, induction? Wait a minute. And I explained everything. And my husband got so mad, because he was like, we don't want to talk to her. We want to go back to the other midwife we done had the whole time, because these last two been on something totally different, and it's their very first time seeing you. And the person that has been seeing you from day one, from day one of us going to, to the clinic, hasn't said anything remotely like this. And he was mad. And then by the time he came out, I was still crying and everything. But I actually took a minute to look, because when we go, they write all of your stats down. You have to take this little booklet or whatever, and they write all of your stats down every appointment. And y'all no lie, like, I looked from March until now, I have gained a net total of 5 pounds. That's it. So March, April, May, June, July, 5 months. And you're supposed to gain, you're more likely to gain the most weight the last part of your pregnancy. So the last 5 months, I have gained 5 pounds. That's it. So needless to say, my husband was not happy. And during the appointment, she was like, well, have your husband to come with you Monday so he can ask any questions he needs asked. And my husband was like, oh yeah, I'm going Monday. And I'm damn sure asking questions, because I don't understand this. So like I said, we are religious people. But my husband, y'all, I thank God for my husband, because my husband got me together. Like, he basically was like, you know what? We not finna receive this. We not finna claim this. He was like, no, this don't make sense. Why are they all of a sudden now talking about this? So I called my first lady, and she did the same thing like my husband. She got really mad. Now, our bishop was in the military. They got a lot of kids. The last 4 kids that they had, she had them at a military hospital. And our first lady is a lot bigger than me. Even she said it. She was like, honey, I'm way bigger than you. And she was like, she told me that they tried to do the same thing with her. She said that they told her, oh, because of your weight, we just have to induce you. But she said no. And she told me, she said, they can't force you to be induced. They can't. Nobody can force you to be induced. So I was just like, oh my God. So I went to my husband was like, go to the commissary, get you some ice cream. It'll make you feel better. So I went, I got ice cream, but I also got a fresh pineapple, because I've seen videos on here saying that fresh pineapples help. Okay, so that was Wednesday. So Wednesday, I mean, I cried all day. I was just hurt because my husband and I, we had talked, because we've been walking nightly every night, like 2 miles a night. And we had talked, and I told him I don't want to be induced. I want my body to go through everything naturally because they have a timeline. Like once you get like 4 to 5 centimeters, they expect you to every 2 hours to dilate so much. And for progress, I don't, I just feel like if they're trying to force my body to do something that it might not be ready for, I don't want them to just give up on me and say, oh well, you have to have a C-section. That's not what I want. So yesterday, Thursday, like I said, y'all, this has been a week. So Thursday, I had to do the growth scan that the lady 2 weeks ago, the midwife 2 weeks ago ordered. So we get there. Of course, you have to have a full bladder. And when we got there, the ultrasound technician, she was kind of looking crazy. And y'all, I'm somebody that I pay attention to stuff. And I was already like aggravated because I'm like, I don't think this is needed because again, the midwife 2 weeks ago just tried to swear me up and down that I'm diabetic because I was taking metformin. I used to take metformin. Only reason I used to take metformin was because of the misdiagnosis of PCOS. I tried to explain that to her. She wasn't hearing it. The lady the nurse that does my NSTs every Monday and Thursday, she also told me that she tried to explain it to the midwife because the midwife, went and talked to her because she's the one who's seen me the most. And she went and talked to her just to get some back information on me. And the girl told her, she was like, no, she's not diabetic or anything. Okay. So again, back to Thursday. So we're sitting there and I'm struggling because my bladder is full. Okay. And it's painful because I really have to pee, but you have to have a full bladder. So we get in there and the lady was like, well, we're going to do the best we can. I'm like, she was like, yeah, because you're so far. She was like, how many weeks are you? I was like, I'll be 39 tomorrow. She was like, yeah, because you're so far, this may be a little bit difficult. So I'm like, so she tries to do everything. She tries to get little pictures. She's doing ultrasound. Halfway through, she said, you know what? I'm going to have you to go to the bathroom because maybe this will help if you go to the bathroom. So I'm like, okay. I go to the bathroom. I hear she's up talking to another ultrasound technician. And y'all, I could be wrong, but I honestly think she was talking and saying about me, like, why are we doing this? So we went back in and I explained to her, I was like, well, I never know. I said my regular midwife never said anything about this scan. I was like, the lady who ordered it, it was her very first time seeing me. And I said that she thought I was a diabetic. And she all of a sudden ordered this scan. And the lady was like, well, I mean, yeah, normally, if this scan is really needed, yeah, normally we would have already done this earlier in your third trimester because once you get this far along, it's really hard for us to even really tell anything. Y'all, that's what I was saying 2 weeks ago. So needless to say, that just aggravated the shit. Sorry. That, y'all, that just aggravated me even more. Then, how you have to lay for the scan, like, I got dizzy, I was lightheaded, because I was laying flat on my back, which if you're pregnant, once you get so far along, that's not really a good thing. You're not supposed to lay flat on your back. So, y'all, me and my husband, we sitting there, so I said, well, I'm early. I'm about 45 minutes early for my NST, but I'm going to go up here and see if they can go ahead and see me. That way I don't have to try to leave the hospital. I don't have to try to find something to do for these 45 minutes. So I did. I went upstairs, and they were able to see me. So y'all, I'm doing my kick count and everything. And on the monitor, it actually showed that I was having contractions. Even the lady who normally sees, she said, oh, you're having contractions today. So I was like, yay. I mean, they were mild contractions. Um, so, but I knew I was having contractions. So we left there, and last night it rained. It looks like it's gonna rain today. Hopefully it doesn't. But last night it rained pretty bad, so we couldn't go walking. So I went to the bathroom, and lo and behold, I was having my bloody show or whatever. Um, so and I today, y'all, I feel like I'm getting like today. My stomach is like not, which I've seen that diarrhea is an early sign that your labor may be about to start. I feel like I have the flu or something. Like I'm really nauseous today. Which again, everything that I'm looking at saying this is early symptoms. But y'all, like I did, like after Wednesday, Thursday, like I have prayed so hard because, excuse me, because I don't, and I know for most people induction is not a huge deal or whatever. It's really not. But my biggest fear is C-section. So that's my fear when it comes to induction. Like I don't want them to give up on me. Excuse me. So needless to say, today, last night I didn't really sleep at all. Y'all, I know that I said I couldn't have sex with my mother-in-law here, but when that lady said, "Oh, we gonna induce you," child, all that went out the window. I'm just like, look, we just got to be quiet. We've been doing weave, sex, nipple stimulation, the pineapples, walking, birthing ball. I'm doing everything I can to help my body. And I honestly feel like it's working. But yeah, y'all, I just like Wednesday and Thursday, like, oh my God, was just so aggravating and so like emotionally draining for me, especially Wednesday. And I mean, I'm the only thing that I'm kind of against on the mucus, the sweeping my membrane, is because it hurts. I know it hurt because when she checked me Wednesday, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you dilated 1 centimeter. That's progress." Y'all, I was in there, but I cursed. And I was like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry," but it was hurting so bad. So I know the sweeping of my membrane is gonna hurt if we make it to Monday. But y'all, I'm still praying that we don't. And like I said, today, like all of a sudden, like I really feel like I have the flu or something. Like I feel so bad. I know I'm not dehydrated because I'm drinking water, but I feel really really bad. But y'all, that's it. I was just coming to tell y'all what's going on this week. Yeah, and it really makes me feel bad. It really aggravated me because they're saying my BMI is like 1.5% over what they would want it to be. Y'all, that's like 5 pounds. Like, if my weight was such a problem, if I had to eat lettuce the entire pregnancy, lettuce and protein, and that's all I had, to make sure I was getting, the right nutrients, I would have did that. I would have lost more weight. But of course, because I'm actually smaller weight wise, and of course, because in the last 5 months I have gained 5 pounds. So clearly I wasn't just out here just letting it go, letting myself just indulge. Clearly I really wasn't. I was doing the right stuff. And that's what my husband told me. Because Wednesday I was boohoo crying. I was like, it's my fault. I should have just lost more weight. And my husband was like, babe, he kind of got mad at me. He was like, babe, you did everything right. He was like, you've done nothing wrong. He was like, clearly you ain't did nothing wrong because basically, like, you've only, like, this last 5 months, you only gained 5 pounds. Like, that's it. And he said, and you still, technically, you smaller than what you was before you got pregnant. Because, y'all, I'm all belly. Like, seriously, I'm all belly. Of course, my breasts have, gotten fuller, of course. My hips and my behind over the last like 2 weeks or so, they've gotten a little bit bigger, but I always had a behind. I always had hips. But for the most part, like everything is in my stomach, all of my weight, which I mean 5 pounds. But y'all, that's it. So hopefully, we get some action. Um, maybe tonight, or because from everything I read, I mean, I know everybody's different, but from everything that I've seen so far, it says that once you do, you have your bloody show, that it's possible that within like 48 or so hours, you can be going into labor. So so I'm being positive right now. I am. I'm really being positive. I'm not. I'm still. I'm not claiming anything that she said, and I'm not looking forward to seeing her on Monday if I have to. But y'all, as always, I do thank y'all for watching.